Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Y.Bg nasta'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a pleasant afternoon, Madam Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a pleasure to speak at conferences that we know should add value to everyone in attendance. So when I was invited to speak today, I said, yes, please. There were two other answers I could have given. No, thank you. Or yes, but I'm busy. No, I said, yes, please, to Encik Razali of MPC, the CEO of MPC, so I'm here today. The topic that I'm speaking on, as was announced just now, is turning KPIs from a cumbersome burden to handsome results. To most people, KPIs are a burden. And this has resulted from misunderstanding of the meaning of KPI. So I spoke on this topic in Singapore at a function there 2 years ago, and it was very well received. And some people from MPC was there. That's why I'm here today to speak on the same topic. You see, life is a journey, winding. Not only it is winding, but it is climbing. You need energy. You need power. It doesn't happen by accident. Look at that Volkswagen. That was my car when I was a student in Australia. There was also a similar car when I was a student in Canada 30, 40 years ago. You see, the car did manage to go up the hill because it had the engine and the petrol. But look at the milestone. Milestone is resilience, passion, and all the way it was success. Success is a journey, but that journey needs to be measured. That process of travel, you measure that. Some of those big measurements are called KPIs, key performance indicators. Not only it is winding, uphill, it is up and down, up and down, up and down. Winding and up and down. So I have been telling my students that it is all right to fall down. What is not all right is to stay down. Falling down is normal in life, but rise and move on. If you fall, should you fall forward, please. If you stumble forward, please. And if should you fail successfully, please. Failing successfully means you learn from the mistake. I put some words here. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. This is the need to have a vision. There's a need to have directions. There's a need for you to know where you're going. These words are from the Alice in the Wonderland, from the cat, the Cheshire cat in Alice in Wonderland. Alice lost her way in that hole. She was traveling and traveling. It was winding, it was up and down, but there was no need, there was no point of decision making because there was no junction. She had not met a junction. So it was how easy life is. It is all straight. You don't have to decide whether to go to the left or to the right. But a point came when she did come to a junction. She didn't know to turn right, turn left. And she was fortunate that she saw a cat that could speak, a cat that could talk. So she asked the cat, Mr. Cat, where do I go, left or right? And the Cheshire cat said, asked this question, where do you want to go? Girl, where do you want to go? I don't know, said Alice. Then if you don't know where you're going, you can take any road, you will arrive. Arrive where? Nowhere. You have got to know where you're going. But in that journey where you're going, there's a lot of measurement. This is the 4 periods of growth in any organization. Growth comes in the S curve. Look at the curve coming up. Going down first, come up. The first phase is the formative period. The second phase is the rapid growth period. And the third is mature period. And the last phase is the declining period. That is a journey. That journey requires a lot of measurement of performance. I'll be talking about this. You see, when you start something new during the formative period, there is no return of investment yet. It is about capacity building. about building infrastructure, about building system, about building the human resource, about training your human resource. That is a formative period. Then when you start coming up, you get the ROI, return of investment. Up you go. That is a period of rapid growth. The 5 major universities in Malaysia, UPM, UM, UKM, USM, and UTM, that's what it was. About 6 years ago, we were at the top, the mature period. And there was a danger, there was a tendency to go down. There was a tendency to go down. People were so tired. We tried a lot of things. We continued to do a lot of same thing, meaning that continue the business as usual. We started to decline. So came the new idea of research university. The research university gave us another S-curve. A USM has gone into another S-curve, which is the APIC university. Another big idea. These are the 5 stages of corporate maturity. The first 2 is always reactive. Reactive, but that's how you begin. You react. Pre-compliance to compliance. And then from compliance, you go to number 3, which is beyond compliance. Where are the KPIs? The KPIs, 1, 2, 3, all their KPIs, but mainly in number 3, number 2 and number 3, KPIs, key performance indicators, how useful they are. And then it goes beyond compliance. Now we have gone from enforcement to empowerment. Number 2, the compliance is enforcement. KPIs are enforcement. These are minimum standard. I told all my staff at UPM and all the other staff, because I was director of corporate planning, I said, you do not celebrate when you reach you achieve your KPIs, because those are minimum standard. You double your KPI, then you celebrate. People do not celebrate at achieving the minimum. You got to go beyond compliance. You got to go beyond KPIs. And number 4, the integrated strategy. And number 5, the purpose and passion. So when you are number 4 and 5, you are now being proactive. This is where innovation is. Innovation for transformation. This is the journey. This is the journey. Input, process, output. That is internal. That's within the institution. That is within the organization. The moment it comes out from the organization, we call it outcome. Outcome something. Input, process, output within the institution. What comes out, we call it outcome. Then you talk about community getting some benefit. Short-term outcome. Medium-term outcome. And the long-term outcome is the impact. The impact has got to be in the form of growth. Good news, ecologically correct. Good news for all. That is the long-term outcome. And this is what our Prime Minister, our beloved Prime Minister, Dato Sri Najib is doing now. Coming with the transformation process, coming up with their outcome. The outcome, not just output. We do not talk about outputs anymore. We talk about results. What are the key result areas? What are the outcomes? What are the impact you are generating? You know, just to give an example now, it has cascaded down to the universities now. Promotion of professors, user C, user B, user A, especially to user A. We do not talk about how many papers you have published. We don't talk about how many supervised, how many PhD students you have supervised, how many patents you have got. We ask, what impact have you created to the country? What impact? Because of you, there are new policies being formulated because of you. Because of you, because of what have come out because of you. We are now talking about impact. Not output, outcome, just outcome, impact. You see, there is a need to see the right thing. Let me ask you now, what do you see now on the screen? I will forgive you if you say you don't see anything yet, because there's nothing there yet. But what is the word to describe the ability to see something which is not in front of you? The word is visionary. Visionary is the word. Our past president, the past prime minister, Tun Mahathir, was a true visionary, world acclaimed, the best of the best. He saw Putrajaya before it was built.
He saw the highway from Perlis to Johor Bahru, Johor, before it was built. He saw KLCC before it was built. And he saw two. That's why we got two. We will remain the tallest twin tower in the world forever, unless someone has come up with twin tower. Dubai Tower is taller than ours, but Dubai has got only one tower. We've got two. Shanghai, the one in Taiwan, all taller than us because they benchmark with us. They're taller than us, but we remain to have two. There's a power of vision. And Dr. Mahathir saw the need to have the bridge at level 42. You put two towers with a bridge, what letter does it become? Letter H. And H, without us knowing about it, he was building a Taj Mahal for Siti Hasma. H is for Hasma. Nowadays, when I look at the tower from the angle that I can see the letter H, I see it's Asma smiling at me. There's our subconscious mind playing itself. You cannot prevent it anymore. Well, I cannot. But let me help you to see something. What do you see now? How many of you can see a frog, please? Thank you. But how many of you can see something else in addition to a frog? Thank you. What did you see? Let me help you. How many of you can see a horse's head? Thank you. You have got to orientate yourself. You got to orientate yourself, look at from different angles. Rather than you orientating yourself, let me orientate a slide. There. How many of you can see the horse's head now? This is the same thing about KPIs. KPIs are not a frog. The people think different thing about KPIs. KPIs benar-benar a bigger agenda. If it is an animal, it is a horse, a beautiful stallion, not a frog. It is a bigger agenda. So let me move on. This is the true visionary, Dr. Mahathir. I put this down for two reasons. One is to pay tribute to Dr. Mahathir because of Wawasan 2020. I mean, all those measuring he has been doing all these 20 over years. When he was Prime Minister, we did grow. And the other reason is to show you myself. It was a real privilege to be invited to be with Dr. Mahathir on the platform. What were we speaking on? This was KLCC 2 years ago. This is how fast time flies. It was 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago now. We were speaking on thinking. There was a conference on thinking. ICOT, International Conference on Thinking. It is held every 2 years. In this 2009, it was in Malaysia early this year, it was in Belfast. And the 2 years before, it was Denmark, Australia. We had to bid for it to be the host, like bidding for the Olympic. When we spoke, you know who were in the audience that day? That's why a real privilege that day for me. We got eminent people listening to me and Dr. Mahathir. No, they listened to Dr. Mahathir and me. I should mention him first. Edward de Bono was there in the audience with his young wife. The mind mapping person, what is his name? Tony Buzan was there. Professor from Harvard, the one that wrote on multiple intelligence, Howard Gardner was there, all listening to Dr. Mahathir and myself. And we were talking about disciplined people, disciplined thinking and disciplined action. You see, when people have all the discipline, I tell you now, there's no need for KPIs anymore. Because they're so disciplined, they are empowered, there is excellence from within. They're all empowered. So when we go to a period of empowerment, there's no need for KPIs anymore. We are on inner drive. You know, Professor from Harvard, there's no KPI for him. But for us, because we are in the process of forming a new culture. We need to start from enforcement. Then we go to empowerment. The next day, in all the newspapers, there was a story about, this picture from the newspaper, bernama, The Star, The Sun, The Straits Times. The whole page was about what Dr. Mahathir had said. Not a word about what I said. But the Star was so kind to say that one word, one sentence at the end, together with Dr. Mahathir, was Professor Dato Sheikh Omar. What are the 3 M's of performance management? Number 1, measuring. The moment you say measuring, one question should come straight away as a matter of habit. The why question. Why do you bother to measure? Why are you bothering measuring all this? Why do you bother measuring performance indicators? You're measuring all those things. Why do you bother to measure? The answer is always this: because I want to monitor. Then the question is, why do you bother monitoring? And the answer is because I want to modify. What is it I want to modify? You want to modify the behavior of the players. You want to modify the behavior of the human resource. You want to, the human capital. You want to measure, you modify the allocation of resources. You want to modify your action plan. One thing you do not modify is the vision. That's why Tun Abdullah Badawi did not modify Vision 2020. But he modified the strategies. He came with Islam Madari, he came with modal insan, human capital, he focused on those. And Dato Sri Najib announced when he became Prime Minister that I will maintain Vision 2020. Hey, you modify everything else according to time because the things are changing so fast. You have got to modify. If you do not modify, you are a bit left behind. It is business as usual. There's a need to modify. So remember the 3 M's of performance management. And I put down here that for the 10, 80, and 10 rule from David Pamenta. Key result indicator, KRI, should be only 10. This tells you how you have done in a perspective. It's result. Result is how you have done, the output, the outcome. What you can see. And the performance indicator, PI, 80. That tells you what you want to do. And key performance indicator, KPI, only 10. Tells you what to do to increase performance dramatically. The word dramatically is very, very, very important. This is why I have been facilitating development of KPIs, development of strategy planning in many organizations. They may not misunderstand the meaning of KPI. Some organizations, some departments, some organizations, government agencies have got up to 60 KPIs. 60! That's too many. Reduce it to 6. Because the others are not KPI, the others are just PI. Performance indicators, not key performance indicators. So this is a measure of how many KPIs there should be. The others should be PIs or KRI. If you're measuring the result, it is the KRI. If you're measuring the process, it is the PI. The perspectives there, perspective. What are the perspectives? In balanced scorecard, there's 4 perspectives. The customer, the finance, customer, continuous learning. And what is the third one? The fourth one, I cannot remember. It is in the note. I will come to that. The 4, we come to that slide. There, it is the analogy given by the author is like the onion. If you cut the onion, the core is the KPI. The core of the onion is the KPI. And the flesh of the onion, the rings, until it comes to the surface, those are the PIs and RIs, result indicators. And what do you see at the top there? The skin of the onion is the KRI. The KRI is the one that is a result of the what? All the nurturing you have been giving to the onion. The nutrient, the water, the sunlight. And it has survived the travel from the farm to the shop, to the market. That's what you see. Those are KRI. You peel off the skin, you see the PIs and RIs. And you go deeper to the center, those are the KPIs. The KPIs are the core of this living organism, this living thing, which is the onion. before it was taken out. Because everything comes from there. It starts from the middle. And these are the perspective. There's a learning perspective, the process perspective, the customer perspective, the financial perspective. This is from the balance scorecard. And then you add two more there. On the right, staff satisfaction and environment and ecosystem. The 6 perspectives you have got to look at when you sit down, talk about business, talk about planning. You got to talk about this. Then, what are the 7 characteristics of KPI? These are, number 1, it's a non-financial measure. The moment you measure in dollars and cents, those are not KPIs anymore. Measure frequently, daily, it's daily, 24/7. If you measure monthly, it is not KPI anymore. If you measure annually, those are not KPI anymore. It has got to be regularly measured and acted upon by the CEO. If it is acted upon by the clerk, it is acted upon by the junior staff, those are not KPIs. And the understanding of the measure and the corrective action required by all staff, all members of staff have got to be engaged in the understanding of KPIs. There should not be anybody left out from the understanding. Everyone has got to understand, buy in. And number 5, that ties responsibility to the individual or team. We know who is responsible for that KPI. You've got to allocate somebody. You've got to designate somebody to be responsible. And number 6, there's significant impact. If you achieve your KPI, it will impact on the growth, on the critical success factors, on at least one balanced scorecard perspective. And number 7, there's positive impact to the society. There must be an impact there. If you reach that, there must be impact. Impact to the whole, the global impact or national impact. Okay, quite quickly I want to show you this, how comfortable these chicken are. These chickens do not have to have any KPIs. They don't need to talk about vision. They don't. But eventually they will come here. Kentucky Fried Chicken. But we are not chicken. That's why we need to measure our performance. We are not chicken. Especially those people, majority of us in the organization who are still need to be guided, need to be pushed, need to be enforced. This is where KPI is a benefit. But in doing that, it becomes a burden. But the benefit is so much when during the period of what? Of the early part of the journey. So KPIs, when properly designed and executed, but the leadership and management will produce handsome benefits. That's what I'm arriving at. So what are the handsome benefits? These are some of the handsome benefits. Enable time and energy to be channeled strategically, which will ultimately increase productivity. Help manage performance on facts and not on gut feeling. Not on gut feeling anymore, not on intuition anymore. Help develop an environment where top performers can be easily identified. Manage performance with real-time information. Create best practices and processes. Help change the way people do their job, approach their day, and deal with the daily roadblocks. Help people focus on the big picture. Help people distinguish the important from the trivial, the must be done from the could be done. When resources are so limited, nowadays it's not about doing more with less, doing the same with less. Now it's doing more with less. The time has gone when we had plenty of resources. There was a phase in my journey at UPM doing the same with less. Bad news, no increase. But now there's not only there's no increase, but there is a decrease, and there is a need to produce more, achieve more. So it's not nowadays it's doing more with less. We are talking about efficiency now. This is why we have got to set priorities. Priority setting is extremely important. Otherwise you will spread the butter so thin on the bread, on the toast, that you do not have the taste of butter anymore. Okay? However, I put that, KPIs can be perceived as a cumbersome burden by the management. Why? These are the why. They find that aligning KPIs with the business purpose very difficult and complicated. Very complicated, difficult, so it is a burden. Ensuring effective implementation is a burden. Reviewing KPIs on a timely basis to derive behavior is a burden. Keeping KPIs relevant in response to changing goals and strategies is a burden. Cascading down and communicating KPIs to all levels, especially lower level, is a burden. Creating cultural acceptance and readiness for KPI is a burden, difficult. Benchmarking the business measure is a burden. Often viewed by employees as managerial control. This is the perception of the employees. They say it is control and solely for the benefit of the management. See, the employees do not see the benefit. Employees often tend to respond with distrust to the implementation of KPI in their workplace. How can you have an empowered workforce when that is the perception? As a source of division, KPI is a source of division of conflict between managers and their employees. Can lead to adverse results where the employees circumvent the intended outcome. You know how sometimes they react, they find the loophole, and then they react and everyone loses. They play lose-lose. So when I look at this, these are all leadership issues. These are all leadership issues. Failure in leading for productivity or results. You know, please, Dato Sri Najib, our Prime Minister, have been talking about, hey, go for productivity, not activity. A lot of people are so active doing something. They are busy being busy. So when do you work? When I'm not busy. But they are busy being busy, meaning there's nothing is produced. I have seen someone being at university. I've traveled to all universities. I'm a facilitator to most of the universities, the new, especially the newer one now. Talk about strategic plan. I have seen so much activities. I see a lot of activity, but I don't see results. There was once one person that went for promotion, and look at his CV. He has supervised 10 PhD students. Now he's going for promotion. So busy supervising, but none of the students graduated. Busy being busy. Busy producing something. Something tangible, something we can see, something intangible, which is good feelings. Nope. Failure of leadership. So I'll be talking about leadership a bit before I close up. This is the leadership process. You see the leader in the middle there? The leader controls the resources on the left, infrastructure and other resources. The leader creates environment. You know now the ministers, our Prime Minister do not use KSU, Secretary General, or the Director General, and almost everyone I know, the higher up there, do not use the word environment anymore. You know what word they use now? The ecosystem. It means the same thing. The ecosystem. This is the word now they are using. If you use environment, you are outdated. It is the ecosystem. So the leader controls the ecosystem, create the ecosystem which is conducive. One of the perspective of balanced scorecard, customer, internal customer, which are the staff, below that, staff, that between leader and staff, that is where leadership matters. People do not like to be managed. I don't like to be managed by my boss, by my vice chancellor, but I like to be led. Leading has got these are the two most powerful words of leadership. Please remember this. I know you know it already, but I'm saying it again. The most important word in leadership is influence. Influence. Number 2 is direction. You don't give directive as a director, you give direction. A lot of directors outside there are giving directive. They should also be giving direction, which is the vision, which path you should go. So then come the one in blue, which is the process. Plan, do, evaluate, plan and learn, improve, plan, do, evaluate. Where are the KPIs there in that process? KPIs are in the process, in the doing and evaluating. KPIs are there, and a lot of PIs, quality service. What is quality service? That is the result, KRA and KRI, key result indicators are there. But in that blue, the plan, do, evaluate, learn, and improve, lot of PIs there. Performance indicators, but only very few KPIs. The KPIs belong to the leader. KPIs belong to the leader. I was one of those who have developed the KRA for our Minister of Higher Education, Dato Sheikh Khalid Nordin. Not many, 3 only. One of them is graduate employability. We are measuring his success on graduate employability. Of course, the other one, that's teaching and learning. The other one is in research. So not too many, 3 or 4 KRAs, KPIs. A leader guides others to develop their performance measures. A leader deals with the people issues. A leader should know that it is one thing to know how to design KPIs for even the most intangible of outcome, but it is another thing entirely to engage people in a dialogue through which they create performance measures which they feel excited about and have a lot of ownership, buy-in. You see, in developing KPIs, make it to get the handsome benefit, the employees, the workforce they have got to be involved. They have got to be engaged. You need to ask them, because the result of doing that is that whatever you agree upon will be owned by them. When they're all owned by them, is what we call empowerment. If they disown the KPIs, it's what we call enforcement. Enforcement is so much a burden. So what are the 3 levels of buy-in? The lowest level of buy-in is awareness. Awareness is from not knowing to now knowing. Not understanding to now understanding it. That is the lowest level of buy-in. Yes, I know it, but I will not do it. Yes, I know, but I will not do it. It's not mine. It's not mine. It was developed by you. You never asked me. Yes, I know it. But the second level is from not believing to believing. Not knowing to knowing. Yeah, now I know, but now I also believe. What is another word for belief? Conviction. I'm convinced this is good. And the third level is feeling. The good feeling factor. Not only I know about it, not only I believe it is good, I also have a good feeling for this. And that's what we call passion. That's what we call empowerment. That's what we call from the inner drive. People are on inner drive. You don't have to be there anymore as a leader. They will work in spite of your absence from there. They're on gear 4, gear 5 already, not gear 1. So success is a result of work. There are KPIs when you work. Passion, resilience. And that will not come if you don't have the desire. The desire will come if you engage them, show them the why. Why are you doing? Why do we need to do this? What are the benefits they will get? If you have got the desire and you work hard, there's no guarantee of success yet, because you need another one, which is capacity. You need to have knowledge and skill. You need to have the capacity to deliver. You need to be equipped with the soft skill, the hard skill. That is a capacity. We need a well-rounded graduate nowadays who can deliver with competence, knowledge, skill, and competence to deliver, and give them the desire to do it. And there is a system in place. Success comes mainly from the desire as well, and the system in place. Otherwise, there's so much ad hocism. It will be so much, I call it errors, erratic when performance. No. So 7 leadership competencies, I've just read it for you. If you can read from the back, it's creating a sense of direction. I said this already, setting an example, create the influence. You got to effectively communicate the KPIs, the vision, the mission, the goal, the shared values. And then you got to create alignment, align your people so that they all see the example of the frog and the horse, so that everyone will see a frog. No, everyone will see a horse, not a frog. Everyone will see the same thing. That's what we call alignment. And bringing the best out of people. The best out of people, acting as a change and action in crisis or uncertainty. This is a picture to show the harmony. If this is Malaysia, the one at the back there, drumming the drum, there's our Prime Minister Najib. Tak pakai baju. Boom, 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 with all the initiative. He has come up with so many initiatives. And when they come to execution, he needs us. So you look at all those people in the boat, all executing, satu hati, satu suara, satu jiwa, satu nada, satu gerak, satu perjuangan, satu matlamat, satu kejayaan, satu perayaan. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, he's measuring left and right, because he's got to get that direction right. Look at the dragon's head, how happy he is, smiling. But you look at the other example. This is not Malaysia. Haphazard. Look at the dragon head. Very sad. So the heart and mind of the leader, the 4E and 1P, I'm finishing now, 4E and 1E test of a leader. This is from Jack Welch. The energy. The leader has got to have the energy, and he will energize others. And he should have the edge in deciding, in making wrong decision. The edge is, what is the meaning of edge? Edge is the courage to make tough decision. And execution, that is where all the KPIs are, in the execution. And then passion is the feeling I was talking about. So I put the positive energy, the first E, positive energy, the ability to go, 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 go. Generally extroverted and optimistic, enthusiastic any time of the day. Energize others means the ability to energize others, deep knowledge on the business, strong persuasion. The H is the courage to make yes or no decision, know when to make a tough call, even without total information. That's the H. That's what Dr. Obama is facing now. He should have the H because the economy is so uncertain, but he got to make certain decisions. Yes, the H, the courage to, you know how easy it is to be a leader when everything is known. Everything is predictable, so easy to be a leader. And execute that knows how to put decision into action, push action forward to completion through resistance, chaos, unexpected result. This is where the KPIs are when it comes to execution. Passion, heartfelt, deep, authentic excitement about work and caring. And then the quality equation is that the individual is, in quality, it begins with the individual and it ends with the individual. It's the man behind the machine, said Pak La. Pak La said when he became Prime Minister dulu, is the man behind the machine, human capital, modal insan. And compliance is merely participating. I told you about this just now. Commitment is the involvement, the immersion, and the engagement. Compliance has no good feeling. Compliance means that people are doing a have to. This is where KPI, people achieve the KPI because they have to do the minimum to get by, meet minimum standard only, no growth, only status quo, business as usual. That is compliance. Commitment has good feeling, want to do the maximum, achieve higher standard, contribute to growth. So finally, I would like to say that turning from a burden to handsome benefits in KPI really means turning from a mere compliance to commitment, turning from a mere participation to involvement, and turning from just being good to being great. So thank you very much for listening to me. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.